Right now, a homicide investigation is underway in Iowa County. What police are saying about it at this time.
Plus, UW-Madison makes changes to keep track of students' vaccination status. We have the details on the new policy.
And later, the UW Athletic Hall of Fame finds a new home when construction is scheduled to be complete. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. We
start off this evening with your first warn forecast. We are going to see some really unseasonably warm temperatures this Valentine's weekend.
It'll be beautiful. Alex joins us now with the beautiful weather on the way and also some chances of thunderstorms. Is this true?
Yeah, it is true. You got to put in the back burner. When we're talking temperatures in the 50s to near 60, something's got to give here. So first to let you know here, as we head into the Tuesday afternoon time frame, Tuesday night, this little ripple that you see right here of red, this is what you would see atmospheric energy building up during the spring months and the summer months. And we have just a little bit of it in the forecast, enough of it where we are going to see that chance for thunderstorms as we go Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. Could have some small hail with some of those thunderstorms. Not expecting any major severe weather, but we'll keep a close eye on it. Then our attention turns to Thursday going on into Friday, where we're going to see a mixed transition over to snow. So two weather systems after all the good stuff. But here's the good stuff right here. Madison's high temperature expected to be 59 on Monday. The old record set back from 1981 is 57 degrees. So we'll likely break that or get at least close to that. How about 50 on Saturday? Happy Valentine's Day from me to you here. We got a mild day, a warm day in store, partly sunny skies, light winds. You can't really beat that this time of year. Oftentimes you get gusty winds when we're expecting warm temperatures as warm as 50 in Madison, 51 in Janesville tomorrow, 54 in Lone Rock, 55 in Prairie du Chien. Could have a bit in the way of mid to high level clouds. So I'm keeping an eye on the temperatures because if we do have more in the way of the cloud cover, those highs may be in the upper 40s that we'll see to the east, but nonetheless, those temperatures are still going to be a good 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. After our streak of 50s here, all the way through Tuesday going to Wednesday, look at the temperatures here as we head a little bit later in the 10-day period. They dip down into the 30s. That's when we're going to start to see that transition of a cold rain, breezy conditions over to some wet snow. We could see some wet snow accumulation too. Thursday going on into Friday. More on those weather systems in just a little bit when I come back. We'll use Future Track to look and see if we're going to have any fog also tonight.
All right, Alex, thank you. And now to continuing coverage of the homicide in Iowa County we told you about. The sheriff's office canceled a press conference they were supposed to have earlier today due to ongoing evidence processing and pending results of an autopsy. Now, here's what we know. Officers responded to a home on Collins Street in Ridgeway. This was Thursday morning on a welfare check. And when they arrived, they found a man dead in a home. He's been identified as 62-year-old Todd Neckcash of Ridgeway. The homeowner right now, a suspect is in custody, and there's no danger, we are told, to the public. We'll continue to follow this story right here and bring you updates through our app. Just search Channel 3000 wherever you get your apps.
UW-Madison is now requiring students to share their vaccination status with the university. This comes just 2 weeks after a measles case was confirmed in a UW-Madison student. School leaders want to be clear, this is not a requirement of vaccination, but however, a requirement to share your vaccination status. It requires all students enrolled in a degree-seeking program to either document their official vaccination records or disclose they are not vaccinated to University Health Services. Students have to share their status for MMR, Tdap, chickenpox, meningococcal, and hepatitis B by March 12th.
Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul condemning the Trump administration's revocation of the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to regulate climate pollution, calling the action illegal, self-sabotage, and a denial of reality. Yesterday, the administration repealed the endangerment finding. The 2009 scientific analysis found human-caused climate change endangers human health and safety. It has underpinned the EPA's authority to limit planet-warming pollution from the oil and gas industry, power plants, and cars since the Obama administration. President Trump claims it will lower the price of new cars.
This week, a Dane County judge denied the city of Madison's motion to dismiss a lawsuit over uncounted absentee ballots. The city argues that state absentee voting is a privilege, not a right, citing a state law.
News 3 Now political reporter Ellie LaLiberte breaks down where the case goes from here.
What's the price of a vote? Well, that's what this lawsuit is trying to figure out. In the 2024 November election, Madison failed to count 193 absentee ballots. Now, some of the affected voters are suing the city for money. Last week, I sat down with Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway, who told me this suit could set a dangerous precedent for city clerks.
I think it is an incredibly dangerous precedent to say that clerks' offices can be sued and have to pay lots and lots of money that right now is going to provide basic services, money that could go to pay poll workers better, money that could go to secure our elections. And there is no clerk's office in this state that has adequate funding.
But Scott Thompson, staff counsel for Law Forward, has a different outlook. Would your lawsuit open the door for clerks' offices to be sued more?
The answer to that is absolutely no. And I would honestly just point everyone to the court's decision that came out earlier this week. The judge had specific comments about this argument and said, Wisconsin has already recognized this claim for nearly 160 years. None of the dire consequences predicted by defendants have come to pass.
In the decision to move forward with the suit, a Dane County judge wrote, quote, just because the absentee voting process is a privilege does not mean that those who legally utilize it do not exercise their constitutional right to vote. Of course they do. The city and other defendants now have to file a response to the complaint. There's a scheduling conference for that at the end of March.
Ellie, thank you, and we invite you to watch Ellie's complete conversation with Law Forward this Sunday morning at 10:30 on For the Record.
And ahead of this upcoming election day, News 3 Now sent out questionnaires to candidates. You can find the responses from candidates for the Dane County Board online at channel3000.com. Just go to News, then Elections to find those stories. The
Consumer Price Index rose 2.4% last month from a year prior. That is below what economists were forecasting. They predicted CPI would rise 2.5% on an annual basis last month. This represents the slowest pace of inflation since May of last year, and it is down from December's 2.7% annual rate.
The UW Athletic Hall of Fame has found a new home. Its old location next to Camp Randall Stadium was torn down in order to make room for a new indoor practice facility. So the new Hall of Fame will sit outside of the Kohl Center on Francis Street, providing year-round access for Badger fans and allowing for decades of future Hall enshrinements.
I think it's cool to be able to bring this Hall of Fame back to the center of campus, to an area next to the Kohl Center and with the LeBron Arena that feels like it does a great job of representing all of the great athletes that have worn Badger Red throughout the years, and that's what a Hall of Fame should feel like.
Construction on the new Hall of Fame will start in the early spring and be finished in the fall in time for class of 2026.
Well, it's a busy week for local gift businesses here in Madison, with tomorrow, of course, being Valentine's Day.
Although it is an extremely busy time for florists and chocolatiers, it's also a very exciting time as the holiday week brings in substantially more customers than any other week in the year. Our Nash Dara reports.
Today seems like the busiest day.
Around Madison, flower and chocolate shops prepared for the chaotic schedule by being ready weeks in advance for what one referred to as a 2-week sprint.
Preparation is a key, really. It helps to have everything ready, and overall things go pretty smoothly if you prepare.
However, recent tariffs imposed by the U.S. have caused pricing changes to both flowers and cocoa from certain countries, now having an effect on shops and customers during some of the busiest few days of the year.
We saw about between 20 and 40% price increase in July of last year. So that obviously affected our prices. We had to raise prices for the first time in September. We get our boxes from overseas, not something we can buy here in the States. And so we had to move from China to a new country, and so we're out of our 4-piece boxes.
Casperson also shared that although there have been price raises, Infusion Chocolates has seen no impact on sales as people have understood why costs have increased. I also spoke to Alina Poletskova, the owner of Red Square Flowers in Madison, who also shared the effects of tariffs on florists.
We were really worried about this impact. Fortunately, prices did not go up significantly for us.
Local shop owners also shared that it is true. Today and tomorrow are two of the busiest days of the year.
Thank you. That's Nash Dara reporting. Shop owners tell us no matter the price, people will always go out of their way to buy gifts for friends and family on Valentine's Day, especially those chocolates and flowers.
Well, indie band AJR is set to perform at one of the stages at the next Wisconsin State Fair. The multi-platinum trio has generated billions of streams with songs like Bang, Weak, and World's Smallest Violin. Tickets will go on sale February 20th at 10 a.m. You can buy them at wistatefair.com. Pre-sale tickets for Friends of the Fair are available on the 19th.
Coming up next, the latest on the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
Plus, another partial government shutdown, almost a certainty now. Which workers are expected to be impacted?
And temperatures could reach record highs next week. Alex will break it all down in his complete forecast when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
Well, the federal government is likely to partially shut down at midnight Eastern, so another 45 minutes or so. With Democrats and the White House far apart on a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security, Democrats are demanding, quote, dramatic reforms to ICE before they agree to fund the department. And that would include requiring federal agents to get judicial warrants before entering private property and also to remove masks during operations. But the president is continuing to defend the enforcement tactics which have led to the deaths of 2 American citizens in Minneapolis.
There are really strong, meaningful reforms to rein in ICE and stop the violence. There will not be Democratic votes to fund ICE and extend the awful status quo that now exists.
They've done a great job. Remember, they've taken out hundreds of thousands of criminals out of our country.
The partial government shutdown will begin again at midnight Eastern, and once it begins, ICE and Border Patrol, they'll continue to be funded with money from the president's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, while other agencies under DHS, and that includes FEMA and the TSA, they would have to work without pay.
Investigators in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie say they're following up on some good leads, but there are still no suspects. The FBI released a new poster today listing a $100,000 reward for information leading to either the location of Nancy Guthrie or an arrest. It comes as authorities have asked residents who live within 2 miles of her Tucson home to share any unusual video footage.
You see anything. A person's walking by, maybe just a shoe is all you're capturing. Maybe it is a color of hair. Maybe it's a car. Maybe it's a part of a car. Don't dismiss it. Send it to us.
The Ozark Trail hiker backpack that the suspect wore, the potential suspect, is specific to Walmart. Investigators are most likely combing through purchasing records right now, as well as store surveillance video.
This weekend marks 8 years since the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School mass shooting that left 17 people dead in Parkland, Florida. And among the victims, Alyssa Alhadeff, a 14-year-old who loved soccer, 14-year-old Gina Montado, who served on the school's Winter Guard team, and 17-year-old Joaquin Oliver, who had just become a U.S. citizen. Following the shooting, students founded an advocacy group lobbying for gun control called Never Again MSD. One survivor spoke about the ongoing fight.
Unfortunately, it should not be a political issue, but our lawmakers have made it one. So we need to make sure we are constantly thinking about who can we elect that actually is going to change something on this issue, so we can keep pushing on the federal level and, of course, on the state level as well, because that's where most of the movement's wins have actually happened.
The incident remains the deadliest mass shooting at a high school in U.S. history, the shooter spending the rest of his life in prison.
To a recall alert now, hundreds of Cheer Kid baby bath seats are being recalled for a potential drowning hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the seats are in violation of the mandatory standard and can possibly tip over. No related injuries have been reported so far, but the baby bath seats were sold nationally on Amazon last September. So if you have one, you should return it for a full refund. More information is online at cpsc.gov. To the weather now, temperatures climbing into the 50s this weekend. Glorious. Alex, how long can we expect the temps to stick around?
Glorious indeed, and we can expect them to stick around clear through at least Tuesday. Wednesday might be a bit of a wild card because our weather pattern is going to start to change later Tuesday going into Wednesday, but at least Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, highs 50 degrees. If not near 60 degrees. Look at that nice 5-9 up there by Monday. Cooler as we head out a little bit further into the 10-day, but those temperatures later in the 10-day behind me, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the 30s. That's normal for this time of year. I barely say those words normal this whole winter. We had very below normal, very below average temperatures earlier in January. We slowly worked our way out of that. That's what that left yellow line is showing. By the time we got into the early part of February, we finally cracked 32 degrees between the February 5th and February 6th. And then we cooled back down, then we warmed back up. And now as we take a look at the next 10 days, this would be to the right of the today line. You see that yellow line consistently in the red zone. That means we're going to be well above average over the course of the next couple of days. And then we work our way back down again to average for this time of year. Nothing average about the high temperature on Valentine's Day. 50 degrees, maybe take your activities outdoors for a bit. We'll have mild conditions, warm conditions nonetheless, and temperatures will be in the mid to upper 20s tonight. A little bit of patchy fog overnight tonight. We can't rule that out. I'm going to show you future track. I'm not overly impressed with it, but I'll explain why there still is that threat for a little bit of fog. And the reason why, well, we have clear to partly cloudy skies, and any of that heat goes out to space. And as those temperatures cool down to closer to what's called the dew point, that's a measure of moisture, you get that chance for a little bit of fog, especially in those low-lying areas, those ravines. So the Wisconsin River Valley behind me here, and areas that are those low-lying areas, you might pick up a little bit of patchy fog. It was looking a little bit more widespread earlier in our 4 and 5 o'clock newscast this evening, but I wanted to give you another glimpse late this evening here to show you that maybe that patchy fog isn't going to be quite as widespread and dense, which would be good for Saturday because we got to burn that fog off in order to have that sun get down to the ground there and make those temperatures get into the 50s, which I'm expecting from Madison, areas off to the west, upper 40s off towards the east. Ahead of the next weather system, a mix of rain and snow after some thunderstorm chances Tuesday night going on into the very early part of Wednesday. Could have some small hail with some of those thunderstorms. So we're keeping a close eye on those thunderstorm chances Tuesday night going on into Wednesday. With that second system, that would be Thursday going on into Friday, where we're looking at a mix of rain and wet snow. We can take this nice and full here so folks can see the full 10-day there. And breezy conditions too, Wednesday, Thursday going on into Friday. Following that weather system Thursday and Friday. Again, some wet snow is a possibility. Temperatures staying in the 30s. And once again, 30s, that's where we should be for this time of year. But you know what? Once we get into a little bit further into March, certainly once we get into April, temperatures in the 50s to near 60, we can be guaranteed that they will not just be here for a few days, they'll be here to stick around.
Oh, I love it. I just like
But
the next
enjoy
that weekend.
this weekend, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, enjoy this nice period right now.
Thank you, Alex. Well, nominations are open for Madison Magazine's Best of Madison. Log on to channel3000.com and click on the link to nominate your favorites. You have until the end of the month. We're also celebrating the city's best business and leaders. You can join us for the Best of Business program February 27th at the Concourse Hotel. You can learn more and get tickets on our website, channel3000.com.
Andrew's here with sports. Badgers staying red hot.
Yeah, they certainly are. Still a cup in sports. Wisconsin men's hoops looks for their second win over a top 10 team in the span of a week. The highlights next on News 3 Now.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS Telecom.
If you are a top 10 team, playing Wisconsin men's hoops has been a horror story. And in case you needed further proof on that one, 10th ranked Michigan State entered a house of horrors this evening called the Kohl Center. And the better Nick Boyd has played this year, the better Bucky has been. This one brought the house down. Boyd puts Jordan Scott on skates. Step back, you betcha. What an ankle breaker from Boyd, who was just getting started in the first half. Here he gets a pass from Andrew Rohde and puts it down. How about this? He'd score 20 points in the first half alone, helping the Badgers send another top 10 team home. What a week for Wisconsin hoops, who blow out Michigan State 92-71. And for the first time since 1951, the Badgers beat 3 top 10 teams in one season. Let's keep hooping. You may remember the story I did on Nijawani Riak, and tonight she dunked for the first time in a game. Earlier this week, she scored her 1,000th career point. The 15-year-old Madison La Follette superstar is a sophomore sensation. I don't care what level of play, I don't care what sport. If you lose your 5 best players to the Olympics at that, sustaining success is seldom. But most teams aren't Wisconsin women's hockey. Mark Johnson's Badgers, they made their way to Mankato and did not skip a beat, thanks to a pair that were in sync. Scoreless in the first, but not for long. Marianne Picard scores, and she's assisted by Finley McCarthy. And why do I mention that? Because these two have been stepping up big, filling the shoes of Caroline Harvey, Layla Edwards, and the rest. And look at that pass. This one from Marianne Picard to Finley McCarthy. And the Badgers, they get a big-time win. 4-1 is the final score. As for the men, Wisconsin men's hockey, well, they lost 6 straight, but then they turned that into a 2-game win streak last weekend. Could they keep it going? That's the question. They're in Columbus playing Ohio State up 1-0. And how about this? Sweet sassy molassy Simon Tassi. He gets the light to lamp, make that the lamp to light up. And later, Badgers up 2-0. Gavin Morrissey with his 2nd goal of the game. Wisconsin leaves no doubt about it against Ohio State, beating the Buckeyes by a final score of 4-2. To the softball diamond we go. Earlier this morning, Iowa State, they came down at the hands of Wisconsin 5-1, and then later in the day, the Badgers beat UT Arlington 14-4. What a start it's been for the Badgers on the softball diamond, and it certainly felt like baseball or softball weather lately, and I don't even need to double check with Alex on this one. This weekend's weather is going to be fantastic, but I'll still have him certify that next on News 3 Now.
And tonight with The Late Show, we're passing the spendings on to you. Steven's got John Oliver. You gotta relax, man. CBS Tonight.
Well, finally tonight, this fine feline here is apparently being called the world's best cat. Meet Darlin Fleur Dalmore Black. I guess that's his real name. Although I just like Fleur. Sounds fancy. He's 1.5 and he's in a say that?
I don't know.
He's a Russian cat. He was crowned the world's, there you go. He's the World Cat Federation's best in 2025 after competing in more than 40 international shows. Is he tired? I would be
He's a year
tired.
and a half old. He's been in 40 shows.
40 shows, that's what I'm saying. And there were 1,500 competitors. Dang, Darlin. They're judged on balance, ear placement, head structure, muscle tone, eye expression, and coat uniformity. My God, I'm tired reading that.
And their ability to just ignore people, because that's what cats do.
That's what cats do.
Yeah. 40 shows in a year and a half.
This is how
Time for
cats do.
nothing else.
I have time for, I don't have time to,
Alex, back, final check of the
Sorry.
forecast.
Yeah, temperatures in the 50s. Hey, we'll close in on 60 on Monday, but be tuning in over the weekend. We got to keep an eye out for the thunderstorm chance Tuesday night and Wednesday, and maybe some wet snow as we go into Thursday night, going into Friday.
Can you tell we're dog people?
Yep, all
All of us
The 4 of us, sorry. Cats are cute too.
Thanks for watching. Colbert's coming up next. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a good one.